Hi, my name is Sarah Williams. I am doing a review on the Grey's Anatomy for my English 1102 class with Professor Medavesky, and the date is April 30th, 2018. This review is not going to be on all the seasons. There are 14 seasons, but it's going to be leading up to the last death I speak about, which is in season 11. And I'm going to be speaking about characters in this series that died, characters in this series that just simply left and went to different hospitals or went and did their own thing and they're just no longer in the show no more. I'm going to just speak about how, if I agree with that or if I disagree, and if I think that they should have stayed or if I was happy that they left. There's 14 seasons. Grey's Anatomy started in 2005, and it was created by Shonda Rhimes. So it's been about 13 years, and they still have episodes going on every Thursday on ABC. There was an original crew: Christina Yang, Alex, Izzy, and Meredith, and George. Meredith Grey she's the narrator of this show, and basically is about Meredith's life and the people around her and her job and her family. And the scene, it takes place at the hospital, and basically these people start off as students and go into interns and then residents, and some of them go to different hospitals to have fellowships or stay at this hospital. But my first person that I'm going to speak about is George O'Malley. George O'Malley, he passed away because in the story, what happened was that he jumped in front of a bus to move a pedestrian out of the way, and he actually didn't have any identification on him, so nobody knew who he was, and he was really beat up and very swollen. His face was really swollen. He had burns, and it was a tear-wrenching episode because nobody knew who he was, but the viewers did. Everybody knew that was George. And George was a sweet guy. Nobody wanted him to go. Honestly, I think that this season, or the shows, would have been better with him on here, just because I don't know, I feel like he started a lot of drama with, liking the main character, Meredith, and, Meredith didn't know, and I don't know. I just think that he was a good character for this show. The doctors finally figured out that it was him, and it was just very sad. I did hear a rumor that the reason he did get killed off was because he got into a conflict with the creator Shonda Rhimes, which I don't know, but it's always interesting to hear that kind of scoop from the internet, but who knows if that's true. So basically, George O'Malley is one of the first people that I think was one of the main characters that died, and I actually think that he shouldn't have, but, oh well. My next person I'm going to speak about is Izzy Stevens. She was in that original group. Basically, she didn't die. She actually left the show. She quit being a doctor, and what happened was she invested way too much into her patients. She fell in love with 2 patients, and I just thought that it was not necessary in the show because, I don't know, I thought it started getting annoying and redundant, and basically she then started liking the other original character and married him, Alex, and then they wanted to get a divorce, so she left the show. I think it was good for her to leave. I actually don't really remember her that much now that I've been watching it for the past 14 seasons. She's not somebody I miss, and I hope that she never makes an appearance again. My next person that I'm going to talk about is Lexi Gray, which is Meredith Gray's half-sister, and they met because Lexi Gray started working at the same hospital as Meredith Gray and confronted her and was like, "Hey, I'm your half-sister." And Meredith's like, "No, I don't care." Meredith is very cold and she just didn't care. But I'm talking about Lexi Gray along with Mark Sloan, which was a best friend of another main character, Derek Shepherd. He was pretty big in this whole series and actually ended up marrying Meredith, but he's linked to Mark Sloan because that's his best friend. There was a plane accident and both of those characters did die. On the plane there were, I think, like 6-7 people. There was Derek, Christina, which was an original of the student group. Meredith was on it. There was another woman named Arizona, Mark, and Lexi. Lexi actually died on the spot of the plane crash, and it was pretty sad because at that point in the series, everybody was really close. Meredith was really close with Lexi, and honestly, it was sad. I don't think that Lexi needed to go, but I understand that the reason they had the plane crash was basically to kind of spruce up the series because it was kind of in the middle of the series. It was probably like the 8th season, and it was just kind of dying down. So I understand that's why, but it was just really sad. She was a good person. She never started drama, and all she wanted was approval of Meredith, her sister, and kind of wanted to know more about her mother that she didn't know at all. But anyways, Mark Sloan didn't die at the plane crash. Mark Sloan was in a coma, and in his will, or I think it's a will, but basically he stated in written contract that if he's in a coma or on assisted living for more than 30 days at day 30 to take them off the ventilator. And finally got to day 30, and unfortunately they had to cut that off. I think he was another one that was unnecessary to go, but necessary at the same time. He started a lot of drama too, but I think it was in a way where it spiced up the series. So it was sad to watch him go, but he was kind of rude the whole time, and he just kind of had that bad boy feel to him. And, I think it was like, I didn't really care that he left, but it is what it is. One of the next person I'm going to talk about is Christina Yang. She is an original from the students of Meredith, Alex, Izzy, George. And Christina actually didn't die off. She accepted a job at a hospital, and she was like head of the hospital, I think in like Sweden or like Switzerland. And she was Meredith's best friend, and it was like her person. It was the person that Meredith went to always if she ever needed anything. And I think that her dying, or not dying, she actually didn't die, but she's not in the show anymore at all. So I still like to consider her killed off because Shonda did take her out of the whole series after. And that was in like season 10. And I think that they shouldn't have taken her out because since it was Meredith's best friend, now Meredith doesn't really have a best friend. It's not like that relationship that she had with Christina with any of the other people in her group. I just don't think anybody will be able to replace Christina. So I think that, to me, that hurt the series because I'm not really interested in it as much as I used to, because that was one of my favorite characters. That is what made Meredith who she is today. But so yeah. My last person that I'm going to talk to, which I think is the worst death ever in any series that I've ever seen. I honestly, like, every single time I see the episode, I cry because it is just so unfair. But the person that died was Derek Shepherd. Dr. Shepherd, or McDreamy, because he was very handsome. He died, and that was Meredith Gray's lover. They were married, they had children together. I think Meredith was pregnant in the episode still, so he didn't even get to see his baby. His last baby, they already had a few kids. But basically, it's kind of ironic how he did die, because he is a brain surgeon, and he got into a car accident after helping somebody that got into a car accident that had some trauma. He then got into a car accident, and the ambulance came, picked him up, and took him to a different hospital, not the hospital that he works at, and he got to the hospital, and he was still, he was awake, and he could think in his mind, but he can't speak. So in the episode, you could just hear him talking to himself, like, you should get me a CT scan, blah, 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 because he hit his head. And they just didn't want to give him a CT scan. And because of that, he ended up dying. And it was because of those doctors, which is why it's ironic, because he's a brain surgeon and they didn't want to give him a head scan. And it was just... I honestly think that the series should have ended when he died. I still watch it just because I am in love with the series of Grey's Anatomy. But after season 11, I think that they should have just cut it, because it is not as good as it was before season 11. I honestly just watch it to watch it now, hoping that something good will happen. But every single time, I still cry on some episodes, but it's just not the same. For that, I think Derek should have been the reason why that Grey's Anatomy should have ended. Thank you so much for watching my review on the deaths and kill-offs of Grey's Anatomy. Thank you for watching.